Hello, it's Ben Cooper here from Literacy Waggle, and today we're thinking about reasoning skills. Okay, so these 6 methods are all about developing reasoning skills, and basically the idea is that it's 6 pieces of language that you can use with the children that link to a task for the children to do. And over a period of time, the children will develop the understanding of these 6 pieces of vocabulary and understand what strategy and what approaches they will need to tackle the issue. Strategy number 1, the prove it method. This is where you give the children a statement that is either true or false, and then they have to prove it. So for example, in maths you could say, prove that 2-digit numbers do not always equal a 3-digit number. Or in science you could say, prove that a flying fish is not a bird. And the idea is if you ask these type of questions towards the end of a piece of learning or halfway through, the children can use what they've developed, use their understanding and use that evidence to prove whether something is true or false. Okay, strategy number 2, convince me. If you ask the children to convince me about something, ask the children to convince the teacher whether something is true or false, or convince them that it's an opinion. So for example, in maths, you could ask to be convinced about whether 2 odd numbers never equal another odd number. Or in reading, you could ask a convince me question, for example, do you agree that Superman is a hero or a villain? And basically they have to be convinced on their opinion of that character using the evidence in the text and show their mastery understanding of that story. Okay, strategy number 3, what if? What if questions are open-ended ideas and they require children to use their learning and predict what might happen next or what the outcome will be to that question. So for example, in science you could ask what would happen if Manchester ran out of electricity. Or in English, you could say, what would happen if commas were banned from being used in writing? So ask the children to go a little bit further about their understanding about a concept, a story, or a scientific concept, and get them to make predictions about the future based upon what they have learned. Okay, reasoning strategy number 4, odd one out. Odd one out is a really great strategy to use because there's no right or wrong answer. Basically what you do is you give them a selection of options and you say which one is the odd one out. The children have to justify why they have chosen a particular item from that list to be the odd one out. So for example, in geography you could say Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, which is the odd one out. There could be lots of different reasons why they've chosen one of those countries to be an odd one out, based upon location, based upon culture, based on language. There's loads of different options. So hopefully after a research project, the children might be able to then justify and start to reason using what they've learned to find an answer. And the best thing about that is the children can't be wrong. It's all about opinions, as long as they're justifying with reasons. Another example of that would be in art, blue, purple, orange, which is the odd one out. That could be to do with colours and tones, it could be which colours are used in a piece of artwork. So there's lots of different ways that you can use odd one out across the curriculum. Okay, strategy number 5, same or different, better or worse. Same and different and better or worse is really useful. It gets the children to compare different items or objects or topics, and it also gets them to evaluate. So it's all about that high-end thinking about evaluation. And so in history you could say Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, who was better, who was worse? So it gets them to think and compare about those 2 monarchs. And in geography you could say Dubai, London, similar and different. So it gets them to compare Dubai to London, and it gets them to use all their knowledge about the 2 locations to compare what the differences and the similarities are. Okay, the final one, strategy number 6. I've got enough fingers. Always, sometimes, never. Always, sometimes, never is a brilliant, simple way of allowing children to justify whether something always happens or always is true, is sometimes true, or never true. For example, in PE, you could ask the children, touching the ball with your hands in football is always, sometimes, never a foul. The children then have to go think about their knowledge of the rules, think about the knowledge of different positions, and justify whether that is always true, sometimes true, or never true. Another example of that is in writing. You could ask the children, nouns have to have a capital letter. It's always, sometimes, and never true. that gets them to think about the different types of nouns and gets them thinking much more deeper. So again, that can be used all across the curriculum. Okay, so I hope these 6 strategies are useful to you. I hope you can see how they can be used across the curriculum. Developing reasoning skills is really important because it allows you to understand as a teacher how well they know a topic. If they really understand something, then they'll be able to justify and use examples when they're talking to you. And if they have a shallow form of knowledge, they'll probably find this quite difficult. What's important about reasoning is we have to teach it explicitly so the children can develop their understanding of how to explain things and use evidence, because it's going to be really useful as they move through school. I hope this video has been useful. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to access much more PD videos. We try and upload one once a week. And please also follow us on our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for updates for our website and also updates when we release new videos on YouTube. Have a really good day.